Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's time for Vegas, baby. What's going on, guys? Bergs and Longy here from The Casual Athlete, back for another year of tips. And it is time to go. Oh my God, I am so ready. Viva Las Vegas, baby. Longy, how have you enjoyed the preseason? Are you ready to get into some action, mate?
Mate, it's been a monstrous preseason. A lot of news, a lot of teamless news as well that we can talk about in this video too. But guys, make sure you join our tipping comp. Heaps of prizes on offer. So it's pretty small comp right now, but there's a few hundred in there. Got grand final tickets, NRL jerseys, NRL hats, all that sort of stuff. You can win it and we can hang out and do our tips together in a comp that rewards the upset.
Yeah, guys, 100%. Make sure that you get into that TBC Live Tipping comp. Join the banter as well. Going to be copping hits left, right, and center, probably from me, especially if my tips don't go according to plan this year. Hopefully a bit of return to the norm. Last year, we can throw it out the window. It is done and dusted, and I am keen to hear about the prizes as well. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of prizes that TBC are going to be putting up, Longy.
Yeah, look, massive prizes. But the big one is if you do join before round one, you go into the draw to win a jersey. So just for joining, right? So link in the description there. Just jump in, join up, random person gets a jersey. It's a pretty sweet deal. But Miles, I'm keen to tear into these tips.
Yeah, fantastic. To get a jersey for the start of the year so you can wear it all the way through the 2025 season. And starting off the 2025 season, we're back in Vegas, back at the Death Star in Allegiant Stadium on Sunday, 11 a.m. So you're going to get up early on a Sunday for this one to start off the NRL action for the year. And we have the Raiders taking on the Warriors. Now, they're split over the last 10 games, 5-5. And I would say at the moment, I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the Warriors this year. Would you agree?
I mean, not based on this, right? So 62% of people have taken the Warriors. They're a big favorite here, only 1.6 points on TBC. Raiders are a big outsider, 2.7 points if you get that upset. So, I mean, I look at this and I go, you know what? Canberra looked good in the trials, but the Warriors looked all right too. I just think KO Week's going to be the difference. He's going to break this open. So I'm going Canberra to win this one.
Yeah, interesting. I really feel like, though, it's a big turning point for the Warriors. You know, they don't have any Sean Johnson now. It's a real chance for Metcalf to show his quality. And I think he needs to be the guy who can really take this Warriors team forward. It's why he left the Sharks for better opportunities. He's had a couple of injuries, though. And no, Tamari Martin has been selected as well for this game. So we're probably going to assume that Metcalf is going to be the guy leading this Warriors pack, albeit a depleted Warriors pack. Yes, they have Fisher Harris in there, but they did lose Adam Fanua-Blake. Mitch Barnett is now the captain, and I think he's going to be a bit more of a lead-by-example captain as well. Do you think that Metcalf can really, at such a young age at the moment, can he really lead around these veterans in the way that is going to, I guess, win games for this team?
Well, there's one thing I will say. Chanel Harris-Tavita is not threatening him for the goal kicking after last year. So he's the goal kicker. But look, Metcalf, he looked good in the trials. But it wasn't really a consistent role. So he did, in that second trial game, not kick the ball as much. I don't know. I mean, it's a good platform he's going to get, right? So I'm looking at Metcalf, and Metcalf's a talented guy. But the question is, can the team support him, right?
Yeah.
And I look at them and I go, all right, you know, you've got CNK, you've got Tuapiki, you've got RTS, and your back three. That's three guys who can truck the ball up. Set should start well. In the front row, you've got, you know, Barnett, you've got James Fisher-Harris as well, massive addition. I'll throw in Niokore too. So they're three guys who can really put pressure on in defense, put a shot on, right? So this Warriors team is one that's tough, and they should be tough. And you throw in guys like Leia Tower, heaps of talent. I think they should be a bit of a smoky this year. But Metcalf, the question hasn't been talent before. It's been whether he can stay on the field. And I can't make any predictions about that. But what I am interested to see is his transition from, you know, running 6 and attacking sort of creator on the edge to dominant 7.
Yeah.
Because you don't normally see guys do both of those things well.
Definitely.
But he grew up and he did that in the juniors. So I'm backing him to do it. I still think the Raiders, though, they're a very similar team to what they had last year. They're always underrated. They're going to come in. I think they're going to do a job and win this game.
Well, let's go to the Raiders then. I mean, they've named a rookie, a couple of rookies actually, in Owen Paddy. And then we also have Sav Tamale as well. From an outsider's perspective, Sav Tamale, mouth-watering prospect. I mean, he was a great junior for the Dragons. I'm very surprised they let him go as well, considering some of the outside back deficiencies that they had at the club. And I mean, they chose to sign some older players. That's fine, like Val Holmes. But I really feel like Sav has now taken an opportunity that he saw and has moved over to the Raiders. And I expect him to really take the ball and roll with it. It's about whether Ricky's going to stick with him, not like the way he didn't stick with Savage, right? You know, Savage came in, played a few nice games, then had a horror game. And we basically didn't see Savage for another year after that. So I'm just concerned about Sav if he's going to come in, do well off the bat. It could concern me to the point where if he has one bad game, then he could be out for good. I don't really want that to happen to him, but it seems to be the way that Ricky loves to coach. I don't understand it.
It's tough because Hopper Whitey's waiting in the wings as well.
Yep.
He might be the guy over Tamale. So it's a hard one to pick. Another one I'll throw in here is Matty Nicholson, not on the bench. Good news for Hoskins minutes. Like he comes in, he's fully fit. I'm keen to see a proper year of Zach Hosking because we've seen all these little teasers at Brisbane, at Penrith, at Canberra last year. At what point are we going to see 20 games out of Hosking? And can he maintain what he's been doing in these short stints for a long period of time? Because if he can, and you go Hosking and Hudson Young as your edge back rowers, that's a tantalizing set of back rowers.
It's about whether Hudson Young can keep it on the field as well. A bit of off-field scuffles going on early this week. Little bit of argy-bargy in a hotel elevator, was it?
He was just excited for the game, and he thought the hotel lobby was the field.
Wanted to get his thoughts and feelings out early, especially taking out on teammates as well. Not a good look, if you ask me, for this Raiders team.
He was confused. The hotel staff, they were wearing, green and black. And he saw the new NRL ref jersey.
He saw red. He just said,
"They're refs. Oh, let's go."
He just said, "Go." All right, fair enough. The other person I'd like to bring up, and before I move on to my tip for this actual game, is Ali Leotawa. And I think we're going to be seeing a big season from him. I love the fact that towards the end of the last season, he was starting to dominate guys like Ramian. I remember when he played the Sharks, ran over him a couple of times. And I think Ramian is well-established center. And for Leotawa to grow confidence from that, to then take it into this season, I think he's going to put up some big numbers, not only in fantasy, but also in some super coach areas as well, with some attacking potency leaving the team. It's going to be on a lot of their outside backs and players. That's why they've got 3 fullbacks in as part of the back 5 with Tane Tapiki. And then we've also got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and then Chance at the back as well. So I'm interested to see how that pans out. But in this one, I'm actually going to go with the Warriors. I mean, it's the popular pick at the moment. I do think that the line on TBC Live at the moment, you're not getting as many tips or as many points for taking the Warriors right now. But I expect that to sharpen up a little bit over the coming days. And I think you're going to get a bit more points for taking the Warriors. A lot of people are going to see the tip for the Raiders and go, I'm going to get more points for the Raiders. And more people get on that tip, the more it flips over to the Warriors.
So 2.7 versus 1.6. It's a big difference.
It'll move.
Because at that rate, I think it's a 50-50 game. So I'll basically just take the upset, regardless of what it is in this game.
Absolutely.
What I would say to you, though, is I'm probably leaning Raiders, even if it was 50-50, because you're talking about Metcalf at 7. You know who has been a 7 for a long time and done it forever? Jamal Fogarty.
Yep.
Right? And you throw in Ethan Strange. No one's talking about Strange. He came in last year, first year in the halves, and was a bit of a beast, right? And you give him another year to develop. His game is only going to get better as he gets stronger, more confident, more aware of the attacking systems there, and more well supported by a forward pack that now features Horsburgh starting at prop. I'm a Horsburgh.
Well, Horsburgh's back. I mean, after a year hiatus. Again, one of those guys that I think Ricky just went, "Nah, you're not playing this season, mate. Sit down." I don't know. Weird, I don't get it. I think he did it a little bit to Strange at the end of the season as well. It's almost like a Stockholm syndrome thing where it's like he'll treat them horribly so that they then want to come back and play for the team. Maybe, it clearly works. I mean, it worked for Tarpany. It's worked for Savage. He's now got a spot in the side. So can definitely see the Raiders being very well equipped to deal with the Warriors on the weekend. I just feel like the Warriors will get off to a hot start. I think they had a disappointing year last year, and Andrew Webster will look to turn that around. I really believe in Andrew Webster. I believe in him as a coach. So I really think he's going to, one, love working with Fisher Harris again because he was part of the Panthers system. And 2, the fact that he's named Mitch Barnett as his captain shows the kind of football that he wants to play for me. So I think the Warriors get it done.
I rate it. Okay, I'm going Canberra.
Could be very interesting to start off. We're at odds already, you and me.
Love
we just can't get on the same page here on this channel. I've been trying for years, and it's not happening. You need to follow my tips, mate. What happened in 2023? It didn't go well for you, and you need to get on my back. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next game. It's at 3:30, and we have the Panthers taking on the Sharks. Now, the Panthers have named a pretty weird squad. I'm not going to lie. A few surprises in there, and no doubt you would have covered that in your team list, which come out every Tuesday, guys. Tune in at 4 p.m. on Tuesday to see Longy go through the team lists. And I'm just going to say, I feel like the Panthers are maybe taking the Sharks a little bit easy in this one. They've just said, oh, yeah, we're going to figure a few things out. You know, the Sharks, they've only scored one try against us in the last 3 games. Don't worry about it. We'll chuck in Jack Cole at 5'8". Why not throw Garner at center? How about, we'll bench Papali'i. We don't need him that much. Is that how it feels to you? Because that's what it's doing to me.
It's a messy start. I mean, Toa's out, Liam Henry's out. You know, they're missing James Fisher-Harris from last year. I look at this Penrith team and it's a bit mid. Like I'm ready and excited to say that Penrith don't make the top 4. And I've wanted this to happen for so long. I'm a certified hater.
Yeah, but, we as we know.
Hater with respect, though. So I respect their greatness, but as a para fan, you have to hate them, and I do. Now, in this game, it's no surprise that I'm tipping the Sharks. I'm just going to come right out with it. And I think it's what we're talking about here. So Luke Garner in the centers. I don't care who he's marking. Is it Kale Iro? Is it Jesse Ramian? It doesn't matter because whoever it is, they're going to cook him.
Yeah.
They're going to absolutely cook him, right?
I don't love it at all. I hate it, to tell you the truth. I think Garner's never been a center at any point in time.
No.
He's defended there pretty well a couple of times from memory. But I just feel like you can't take this Sharks team really light. They plugged one of their biggest holes for me, and that was sign a superstar front rower.
Oh,
they grabbed a top 2 front rower in the comp. And now I look across their team and I go, geez, where's the weakness? You know, and right from 1 all the way through to 13, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I think Will Kennedy
2 to 13.
Yeah, Kennedy. We've had debates about Kennedy a lot on this channel. I don't see him as a top 10 fullback in the NRL. I think that's a very fair thing to say.
It's hard to win the comp.
Yeah, but I don't think he needs to be. You know what I mean? I think he needs to be just that support player. He's not the guy who's going to break the line. He needs to be next to the guy who's going to break the line. And that, for me, is enough for Will Kennedy to be a solid part of this Sharks team. They don't need enough firepower already. They have Trindle, who I think is going to be the premier half in this team this year. I think Hines is going to take a little bit of a back seat. I think they might struggle a bit early on as well in terms of figuring out that dynamic, because Trindle, whenever he's played with Hines, he seems to be overpowering a little bit.
Yep.
And he seems to want the ball more than Hines wants it. And that, for me, kind of signals that, okay, yep, sure, Trindle, it's your team. There you go. Like, Hines will play a back seat. And I don't know if you can play a back seat wearing the number 7 on your back. Just give it to Trindle. Like,
I mean, he is the 7. Like, if anyone who watched trial games saw that.
He's the 7.
Like, he was the 7. He was goal kicking.
Yep.
He's that steering force. He did, I think it was about 270
more kick meters,
compared to about 130, right? So he was definitely the 7. But Nico Hines looked good as the 6, because he went back to that role the year at Melbourne where he was that roaming. It doesn't matter if it's fullback or number 6, what jersey number he's wearing, 14. But he was that roaming player and just creating everywhere he went. I think he had a couple of try assists, a bunch of attacking plays. So if he can do that, honestly, he's better at that than he is at the 7 stuff anyway. Like, no, really, I've been saying this forever. If he plays at 6, he's probably the best 6 in the comp. Whereas at 7, he's probably not even in the top 4 or 5 sevens for me.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
Yeah, but at 6, though, he's dynamic, man. Like, so if they can play that right, I also think like Blake Brelly, young guy, you get Fanua Blake in there. I think we're going to see a bit more out of him this year because he's going to have so many opportunities off quick play the balls and
definitely
sort of destroyed defense.
Yeah, there's going to be a few very damaging runs that I think Blake can really bounce off. And the thing is, they have firepower outside that to then capitalize.
Yeah.
You look at the second row and it's Teague Wilton and Nick Carra, and then in the middle is the ever-present Cam McInnes. Like, he is relentless when it comes to cleaning up all the loose stuff, making tackles. I think doesn't he hold the record for most tackles in a game without a miss?
It's something insane, dude.
Like 60 or something.
Yeah. He can play 80 minutes every week too. They don't make him do it.
Ridiculous.
But the good thing about him is if he can do that, and Fanua Blake doesn't have to do as much of that.
Yep.
You just get him an attack, and then you got guys like Braden Hamlin, ULA coming off the
Rudolph.
bench. Yeah,
people like Hazleton a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not high on Hazleton, but Hazleton can do a job.
Hazleton. Great haircut.
Great haircut. I'm a bit bewildered as to why Penrith have decided to roll out this team list, it seems like a lot like their team list from round 1 last year. And if you go back to round 1 last year, they got iced out by Melbourne 8-0. And I kind of see the same thing sort of happening here. They've kind of earned the right to go over to Vegas, 100%. They deserve to be there. They probably deserved to be there last year, but they didn't want to with the whole, I think they had to play the World Club Challenge as well. And it's just a very tight schedule. This year, they've sacked off the World Club Challenge. So I just think that Penrith, once again, aren't looking ready for round 1. And the Sharks, to me, always start hot. I just think you take yourself back to the first 9 rounds last year. Who was the best team in the comp? It was the Sharks.
Here's my question for you, though, because if you're Nathan Cleary, you've achieved it all. Your misso's over in the UK. You know, you're sort of in this spot where you're now kind of the face of the NRL. You get the chance to go over to Vegas. Don't you want to put on a show? Like, I could see Nathan Cleary coming out and just putting an absolute vintage performance on here where he just totally dominates. It doesn't matter what Jack Cole does. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. Like, he is just the guy. And he shows out in front of a big American crowd. Like, that's kind of what I see happening. I still think Cronulla win the game, but I think Cleary's going to be absolutely on fire and potentially a man of the match in a losing team.
Yeah, that was one thing I was concerned about actually coming here today. It was one of the notes I made was, well, do we see another Brisbane grand final performance like we did from Cleary? You know, he was the only bloke who stood up. Luai went off the field. It didn't matter who was around him. He just put on an absolute clinic. It's easily the best 20 minutes of football I think anyone has ever played.
Crazy.
Whether he can do that again and continue to show that he is the number 1 halfback in the competition, because there are circles saying that it is Mitch Moses based on representative performances last year. I mean, I do have to give it to Moses. He was great. Cleary wasn't available. It's kind of gotten to the point where Cleary is almost like an NBA player, and he misses, you know, a big chunk of the season, has some rest days, load management, and then he comes back in the playoffs and just says, yeah, it's my comp now. And
I think Moses' point, though, anyone who's saying Moses is better than Cleary is drinking some good stuff. Like
not you, Parramatta fan over there.
No. Look, Moses is fantastic. He's awesome, but he's behind Jerome Hughes 100%. I would say ahead of Trey Evans. That's sort of what I've got as the top 4 halfbacks. You could make a case that Moses has earned his Blues jersey, but I would say he's earned the 6 jersey. Yeah, and then Cleary is number 7.
But how good would that be? We've never seen that. And that's how good.
Though.
Maybe we might make a video about that later in the year, guys, because I think it's a real good discussion that we need to have. I honestly think that if the Blues want to be completely dominant this year, picking Moses and Cleary, if they're both available, is the option that we need to take. For this game, though, I'm actually going to back you as well. I'm going to go on the Sharks. I think the Sharks get this done 1-12, and I expect them to be outsiders right until the starting whistle. It will sharpen up a little bit, but I think you're going to get bang for your buck here, and the Sharks are going to be ready for round 1, whereas the Panthers may take a little bit longer. You know, grand final hangover. It's been there the last couple of years, and the Sharks have started really hot the last couple of years as well. So I've got to go with the form guide on that one, and I think the Sharks get it done 1-12.
Red hot. I agree.
So, guys, that is it for our Vegas tips preview. Make sure that you go down to the description to join our TBC Live Tipping Comp for your chance to win a free jersey. That's right. You will be getting a free jersey before the start of the season. Well, pretty much before the start of the season. And if you like more content like this, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We put out loads of videos each and every week. I'm Bergs. That's Longy. And we'll catch you for the rest of the tips in another day.